It's time for a Bible story. A long time ago in the land of Israel, Jesus and his disciples spent the day doing what they loved to do most.
Let me guess. Making sandwiches.
Nope, teaching. Jesus was talking to people and preaching the gospel all day long. When evening came, Jesus told his disciples to jump on a boat and cross the Sea of Galilee.
All right, just a little evening cruise action, huh? Nice and peaceful trip across the lake. Nice, sounds pretty nice.
Well, it started out that way, but shortly after they pushed off and started to travel across, something happened that wasn't so great.
They were attacked by a giant sea monster! Ah! Run! Swim for your lives!
No, that's not what happened at all. First, the wind started to blow. Then, the waves started to pick up, and the rain began to pour, and pretty soon, their boat was in the middle of a huge storm.
Ah, yikes. Well, it's okay. At least they're in like a huge, big old cruise ship, right? No big deal.
Not quite. They didn't have boats like that back then. They were actually in a little wooden ship, like this.
Whoa, that is not so big. That thing was out in the middle of the sea in a storm?
Yeah, man.
That sounds terrifying. I bet Jesus and the disciples were so scared. They were probably totally freaking out.
Well, the disciples were pretty scared, but Jesus, not so much. In fact, Jesus was asleep during the whole storm.
Seriously? How in the world could someone sleep in a time like this? Look, the boat's rocking all over the place, water's splashing everywhere, the wind and waves are going crazy. They're just on a little tiny boat, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Okay, calm down. That is true, but Jesus wasn't afraid. He knew that his Father God is a good father, and that he would do anything to keep them safe because he loves them.
Okay, so what happened next?
Well, the storm kept getting worse and worse, and the disciples really started to freak out. They ran to Jesus and woke him up, frantically worried about how he could be sleeping during this storm.
Well, yeah, he is sleeping during a storm.
Jesus got up, and the disciples all watched with wide eyes to see what he would do as he calmly walked to the front of the boat. He raised his hands to the clouds, and he commanded the storm to be still. Immediately, the wind stopped, and the water was completely calm.
Dude, that is awesome. He totally canceled the whole storm. Just like that? That's amazing. I bet the disciples couldn't believe their eyes.
Actually, you're right. They were totally surprised that Jesus did that. But he asked them why they were surprised.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean? He was surprised that they were surprised? There's a lot of surprise happening here.
Well, yeah. Jesus knew that his Father loved his children and that he is powerful enough to do anything for them. This is why Jesus wasn't afraid of anything while he was here on earth. He knew that his Father loved him and would take care of him.
Oh, gotcha. So that's why he wasn't afraid of the storm or surprised that God came through for him?
Exactly. He was able to teach the disciples a very important lesson.
That 2 + 2 is 4.
No.
That yellow and blue make green.
That's true, but no.
That it's impossible to lick your own elbow.
Oh, gross. Stop doing that. And no, it's much more important than that. Jesus was trying to get them to simply trust in God, their Father, who loved them and would take care of them. When we know how much our Father loves us, fear flies out the window.
Ah, good point. That's a lot more important than math or colors or licking stuff. So after that, I bet they wouldn't have to be afraid of anything else that came their way, huh?
Yeah, technically that would make sense.
Like a giant sea monster attack!
What? No, get that thing out of here. There aren't any sea monsters out there.
Debatable, but I'm just saying if there were, we wouldn't have to be afraid of them, right?
Okay, you got me there.
Aha, a conundrum!
Yeah. The end.